welcome everyone to this week's track guide at VIR in the obviously Skip Barber Virginia International Raceway. Sorry, I was going to say Speedway then. But yeah, not my favourite tracks. A few tricky corners that take some time to get used to, put it that way. But I'll show you the track information. So we got quite a warm track when I did this. So tyres are going to heat up quite usage. Slightly used track. This was a hosted session that I was popped in, and we weren't the quickest, but I mean the quickest was 1:36.1, which is rapid if that is the case. But we did a 1:37.3. Now I've had a look at the recent races that have actually gone on, and there's a few people that are faster than me, but generally that seems quite a competitive time. So we'll choose that one. And, well, as always, we'll get rid of the lovely webcam and we will crack on. Right then, so down at turn 1, lovely little corner this is, and by that I mean it's a real pain in the rear end. I have been locking up the right hand front tyre going into this, so bear that in mind if you are copying the setup that's in the description. You can drop the brake bias back a little bit. But I've only had issues with the brake bias locking up the front on this corner, so I've kept it the same at 57%. And we are braking about a car's width around the 200 meter or yard marker, basically the 2 board. And we're braking all the way down into first gear and 50 miles an hour, because take note of how wide the track is on the straight, and then when you come around here you realize how much it tightens up, which is really horrible, because you think you can take more speed in this corner than you actually can. So nice and easy, nice tight line, get on the power as early as we can, because turn 2 doesn't really exist, it's just an acceleration zone. So we're just going up the gears as quickly and as straight as possible to basically turn 3. So we'll speed up a little bit. Now this little kink here I don't believe has a name or a corner number, but it is quite important because it does set up for turn 3. So what we can do is we have a gear change into 4th, and we kind of missed the curve. But I want to avoid curves because they unsettle the car. Now, unsettling the car will still be bouncing at this point, so it can affect our braking, which I don't want to do. So that's why I've been avoiding the curve. Some people have been taking the curve, that's fine by them. This is just what I've been doing. I find the car's a little bit easier to handle under braking. You're not locking up and not trying to do too many things to the poor Skippy. So braking point here again is very awkward because there's nothing around us to to be a guide. So I use this tarmac on the right hand side here. It's got a little thin extra bit on the outside of the white line that ends here. So kind of when maybe I'm 2 or 3 car lengths away from that, I'm stamping on the brakes, but I'm in a straight line. So I'm trying to brake the car in a straight line directly to this dirt patch over here. Down into 3rd, that's half speed, should have done 1/4 like that. As soon as we get to here and we're down into 3rd, we're still trail braking, but we're balancing the car with a throttle. And ideally you want to be a bit more over the curve. You can take this curve, it's quite low, doesn't upset the car too much. But early on the power, and basically we want to minimize our runoff because there's not a lot of curve, and we need to set up a corner, basically set up this corner over here, turn 4, which is a little cheeky rascal. I would say this is the 2nd most important corner on the track, because if we get this one right, we're on throttle basically all the way until turn 7. So quite a good opportunity to get a good run here. Again, with this corner, there is nothing around us to give us any indication of where we should brake. I kind of use when this little gazebo type thing, whatever you want to call it, is roughly where it is on my screen, and kind of when I can see the other half of the barrier there, sorry, not the barrier, the curb. So if I go back a little bit, you can't really see it, and then as you come forward, just as it comes a bit more into view, I'm stamping on the brakes all the way down into 1st gear for this one. This is turn 4, and you can take loads of curb with this because we're going slow enough. And I'm taking loads of curb to try and maximize my entrance of turn 5. Changing into 2nd midway through. Slight lift through here just to get the car rotated in. And this is quite an important corner because we want to come over to the left hand side of the track, but we don't want to run too far over here, because the track does and the grass does go away from us. These few corners, 5A, 6 and 6A, are basically full throttle. We can take the curbing without too much issue. That one just there, 5A, is probably the biggest curb we're going to encounter and the tightest corner. Hence why I want to get left to open it up a little bit. These ones, I'm just going up the gears, keeping the car as straight as possible, trying to maximize our straight line speed. And it's going to be quite a good overtaking opportunity down here, I think. You might be able to get a good slipstream. If you get a good run out of there, you're going to have a wonderful chance coming under the bridge here and getting into turn 7, which let's crack on. We're at the bridge, just basically so you can have a look at the corner. It's very deceptive. It looks like you can take way more speed into it than you actually can. Now, I'm braking as I'm maybe 2 or 3 car lengths away from this dirt patch. I did try and brake at this where this kink is in the road. But what I've been finding is I've been running wide, losing too much speed to then try and make the first bit of the corner, and then it's affecting me all the way up. So I'm braking a little bit earlier, nice and gentle, not as hard as we used to be. We're down into 3rd gear for this, and we're using this lovely mark here that's been on the track to basically take a nice late apex into the corner. Half throttle, we're going uphill, we want to be on full throttle as much as possible. Bit of a bounce over the curb. It will push you a little bit wide and we get a little snap of oversteer, but you can use this bit of the track without too much problem. It does say you are, or watch your speed limit in the pits, says the spotter, which is a little bit of a pain in the rear, but needless to say, we crack on. If we don't get an off track, we can use it. Where are we coming into now? I believe this is turns 8, 9, 10 and 11, maybe even 12. I'm using the iRacing track map. And it's not the clearest because there is so many corners around here. There's 17, but there's 2 corners, 3 corners, 4 corners with a variant. So, you know, you're looking at 21 corners around this track, and there's corners not even counted. So, hey ho, we'll gloss over that. This little cheeky rascal, you can see the track here. It sort of disappears inwards, and we're kind of using that as a lift off and turn in guide. So as we crack on, it's disappearing the track, and that's when we start turning in. Slight double brake just to get the car rotated, and we want to basically get on the curb and follow this curb on the second half of the corner to try and open up this one here. Now as we're coming into this corner, you have to be quite mindful of, you can see the track dipping away, so you've got to bear in mind that the car will understeer. There is a fair amount of track, but we're aiming for exit to be mid-track. And that's going to help. We don't want to be too far in because you've got another right-hander right over here. So we want to be basically where this kind of groove is here in the corner, in the corner on exit. So kind of around here is where we want to be, because it helps us not run too wide. We're not taking any more track than we need to, and it helps with this corner, which in turn helps with this little cheeky rascal. Now I'm going to pause it right here. This little slither of grass, it seems to be an off track. So avoid that like the plague. You can go over the curb, not a problem, but if I've been straight lining this to get over on the curb, but it's been giving me an off track, which is a little bit unfair, I think. But hey ho, that's where the off track is, so avoid it the best we can. Don't worry about this bit of track here, it doesn't apply to us. And then we're coming over into another blind corner, and what we're using is, as we get to the end of the curb, we're braking, and we're braking all the way down into 2nd gear, and we're down to virtually 55 miles an hour, because this is a corner that does tighten up mid corner onto exit. So we're downhill as well, so we're trying to get all our braking done up here. When we see the curb, we start turning in, and we're still trail braking, balancing the car with the throttle. Keep nice and tight here, getting on the power as early as possible, but don't run too far wide. You're just going to compromise this corner here. Follow the tyre marks and the dirt patches on this tarmac. We can take a bit more of this curb, which I believe is 15. And again, don't run too wide. The track falls away, and so does the grass verge. No point going over there, but we can slowly join to the right hand side of the track to open up turn 16. Turn 16 is a little rascal because it's very off-putting, and basically turn 17, the one after it, is the most important corner on the track. It's the one that leads onto the straight and will be full throttle for an awful long time. So we need to get these two corners spot on. So what I've been doing is, as this dirt patch ends, slight lift, big lift on when we're turning in, smash the curb to try and straight line the car as much as possible, brake in a straight line and start turning in. Now, it's entirely your call if you want to take third or fourth. I've been taking fourth, but I've been finding a few of the laps where I've been pushing the car, I have been running wide and going down the grass, which you don't want to do that because it's going to compromise your start finish straight so much and you're going to lose so many places. To begin with, when the tyres were cold, we were dropping down into third, but I would recommend third, to be honest. Third seems a safer option. If you're getting confident and you seem like you're running out of gear, try it in fourth, but the car will not rotate the same in fourth as it does in third. So as we're going in, we can take a little bit more curve. I kind of miss it in this this corner, and we have a slight lift because of that. Because I don't run on the grass. It's not a good place to be, because basically, you know, there's not a long way to come back, if that makes sense. You know, it's a nice big grass verge. You're gonna go miles over there, and you're gonna lose so much speed. The other corner, 17A, that we've just gone through, is just an acceleration zone, so don't worry about that. And all we're trying to do now, pit entrance, if you didn't already see it, is all we're trying to do is now straight line to basically the start finish straight. And there she is. We crossed the line in a 1:37.322, which is not the quickest, but that was the quickest on my occasion. We had a 37.5, 37.4. So if you're getting around here, and maybe even quicker, I'm not that confident around this track. If you're quicker than me, then fair play. Tell me where you are quicker than me, because I need to get quicker around here. But otherwise, I will leave the chase cam coming up next. And fingers crossed, I'll see you on the track. Bye-bye.